feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herb. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning ship. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
You're now watching the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, hosted by your man, H-Rap B.
Welcome aboard. This is Build and Destroy. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. This is the End of the Bench podcast. It is a wonderful pleasure to bring you the information that I bring you on a weekly basis. Thank you. Before I start, I see if people have already started to do it, but if you haven't started, if you're watching via Facebook, hit that thumbs up. If you're watching via YouTube, please hit that like button. It's important. It's very important that you do so. Thank you in the chat room. It's important. Thank you for the people listening in the background. If you listen at www.endofthebench.com, thank you. That's important. As I start off each show, I give homage to my ancestors. Those are my parents and everybody who's biologically and socially connected to my parents and myself. That is Dolores and John Williams. We are the Williams clan, my brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, and everybody affiliated. Thank you for tuning in. This is a podcast designed to build and destroy. What does that mean? I'm attempting to build the community and destroy the lies and propaganda that surround our community. It's important. Today's episode is important simply because it touches that topic right on point. I mean, I have never been more on point in regards to building up the community, destroying the lies and propaganda. And today, the reason I'm doing this is because we are in danger. I do believe we're a little bit out of danger, a little more out of danger than I anticipated at this point of the year, simply because we had an election day 2 weeks ago, and what I saw was white women in the LGBTQ and minority groups, other minority groups, they are fighting for things that are anti-white nationalists and anti-women having total autonomy over their bodies. So those things just happen to intersect with our issues as well. Therefore, when you put people who are anti those white nationalist ideals, what you do is protect us by osmosis. We get protection by osmosis, not by anything we've done. But what I would like us to do is stop listening to people who don't have our interest in mind. They may be our interest facing, but what they're doing is destroying our opportunities. I am not a believer in the total system. I don't. But what I do understand is this. If you can keep the system at bay long enough, you can step up and do some damage and keep your enemies at bay long enough for you to empower yourself and then at that point build a fort around yourself legally and rights-wise and representative-wise. That way you can continue to build your community, protect you and your grandchildren's children. That was the thought process by one A. Philip Randolph, one Malcolm X, one Dr. King, Whitney Young, Baynard Rustin, Fannie Lou Hamer, and so forth and so on, Dorothy Chisholm, and everybody else who are and were major factors in the Civil Rights Act and Civil Rights movement. It is important that we move this way because when people say, hey, the Democratic Party not doing anything for us, what I want you to start doing is this. I want you to start asking people, so if we don't vote Democratic, who are we voting for? And in addition to that question, say, okay, when are we gonna meet up so we can make the demand, so we can make a list of demands, so we can get things moving in the right direction. See, it's easy to tell somebody what you're not gonna do. Like if you were one of my homies, and man, or you were an adversary of mine, it's easy to say, hey man, don't watch rap show because I don't like rap. Okay, what we gonna watch? And if they get quiet, that means they don't even have a plan. So it's easy to follow someone who doesn't have a plan, who just, hey, they're just spouting off. What we do here at the end of the bench and Park Bench Media, what we do is offer alternatives. We offer possible solutions, and we're open to the conversation via the chat, via Instagram, as you see, via Twitter, via TikTok. We can have a conversation. We have discourse. It's not a dissertation. It's a conversation, as I say regularly. Now, with that being said, I want to talk to you about the things that are it's easy to say, hey man, these people got our worst interests. They're not paying attention to us. The man is holding us back. It's extremely easy to say those things. But what we have to start saying is, okay, we know the people who are in power positions in this country don't really have our best interest in mind. That is the easiest fight to have. They are not looking out for us. What are they going to do for us? But the question I would like to present to anybody in the chat room or anybody who is on earth that is part of my clan, what are we doing? See, what I have come to the conclusion, and it's not even a conclusion, I'm just voicing it. I've thought it. I have a lot of time to myself. I thought about this, and what I've come to do, at the conclusion I've come to, is we participate in implicit bias. What is implicit bias? Implicit bias is it is a thought that's pushed into your head or presented to you. It's almost like a brainwash. I am going to present something to you. It may not be bathed in fact. It may not be bathed in anything, but it is an image that's presented to you. And then when I present this to you, you implicitly believe what you saw. And when you believe what you saw, every time you see something that looks like that, you automatically go, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And what we as a community have to do is stop doing that. An example of that is, all I have to do, and I should have had some slides for this, and that popped in my head as I'm talking to you, and I could probably pull up some examples, but I'm not going to do all that. But what I can do for you is this. I can give you some verbal examples and see if it works. If I say Rastafarian, Bob Marley, Jamaican, more than likely, if you start thinking about reggae music, you start thinking about jerk fruit, and you probably start thinking about marijuana immediately. If I say pants off your butt, hanging off your butt, you think dude standing on the corner looking like a clown. That's what I'm talking. You automatically judge that young person and say, hey, yeah, I'm sick of that too. You're not thinking, hey, he may be an A student. He may be an attorney on his time. He may be a doctor on his time. And these things are helping us shape our community through the biases of someone else. And again, let me say that again. Someone else has a bias against our community, and they force it upon us. And we believe it. And it's only because it's been presented to us in this fashion. And what we have to do is learn how to stop buying into the foolishness. We must stop saying, yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what's going on. Because in a lot of cases, that's not what's going on. That has nothing to do with the reality of our situation or our community. And we must stop dealing like that. Now, how do we play a role in this? We play a role in it simply because we allow these things to be put into our heads. We allow these things we allow the system to trick us into believing these things are real, and these things are not real. If you want an example, reality TV. A lot of sisters, I see, I have to spend a lot of time on the internet and doing and one of my fun things to do is to screw around on Twitter. And then you see things like Instagram, you see little clips of women and men having this debate, and one of the biggest debates now is black women are not protected, right? Nobody's out here protecting black women. Y'all black men need to step up. Well, I'm not excusing any of that. This is something said by Malcolm X over 60 years ago. This is something that has gone down. You got documented proof. But what I want us to do is stop investing our time in reality TV. The reason reality TV creates an implicit bias. It really does. You got the housewives, basketball wives. You have Love and Hip Hop, where these are alleged business owners. They're alleged, married to medicine. Alleged, people who have educated themselves to the point where they're physicians, and they are in these close quarter situations, and these women are between 30 and 50 something years old, and they're resolving their issues by throwing drinks in each other's faces, pushing each other in pools, arguing at all times. How many 35 to 50-year-old women out here having fights? Let's be honest. Don't be tricked by implicit bias by going, and the little girl down the street from me, she had a fight. Nah, that's an individual. It's not a legion of women having fights like that. And I'm not excusing the people who create these implicit biases, but our sisters are suffering from it. And how they suffering from it? They're suffering from it because y'all get treated like trash. These people watching these television programs, other people from other cultures, and they go, if they strong enough to have these fights, that's why y'all arguing about pain medication. That's why y'all at the doctor struggling. That's why y'all having that's one of the reasons. Other reasons is racism and discrimination and things of that nature. But this is contributing to those factors, because when they see these women on television act women, which that is a loud minority of black women acting a fool on TV, and they see these sisters, and then they try to say, see, that's what's wrong with black people. Look at the way they treat each other. Look at the way they act. And then they treat y'all the way they see these women acting on television. And I'm not excusing anybody's behavior, because it's unfair, it's disrespectful, and it's disregard. I'm not going to say, see, y'all need to get y'all act together. Nope, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is this. In the event that we pull away from these shows, these people can't add these biases to our community. Another thing, we have to stop grouping in all our music people in the same pile. Ask yourself, why is it that Cardi B, why is it that Sexy Red, why is it that Lil' Kim in my day, Foxy Brown in my day, why are these people pushed to the front? When you got people like Bahamadia, Lady London, who's a current artist, beautiful young lady. She ain't naked though. She rapping about life as a woman. The lady from South Carolina, I can't think of her name, right? Rhapsody is her name. Why are they pushed in front of them? Why did Queen Latifah and MC Lyte get pushed in the background? MC Lyte, a beautiful woman. Queen Latifah, a nice looking woman. Why are they, why? Because they weren't talking about being ridiculous with their bodies, selling their soul to the devil. They weren't talking about those things. Those things were on the back burner. They were talking about life. They were talking about adult contemporary life. And this is what we're talking about. This is what bothers me about this. This is what creates implicit bias. This is why you are treated like trash. And this isn't a new thing. All you have to do is look back in the day. Remember, in the 70s, you open up your Sears catalog. Around this time, all the kids open up the Sears catalog. And they used to have those banks with those black people, those big giant lips. And you put the money in the big giant lips, or had it with the money there. And you slap yourself in the face, and that's how you save money. We were buying these things. You got cartoons where they blow up their lips and have big old giant lips. If you don't believe it, Mickey Mouse is an insult to black people. Yeah, Mickey Mouse. He is an insult to black people. Those are supposed to be lips on Mickey Mouse. His face is painted that way as an insult. Yeah. See, this isn't a new thing. It's just a reality TV It's the latest attempt at disrespecting our people. It's not even an attempt. It's the latest phase of disrespecting our people. What do you think? Like, think about it like this. If you have ever been a business owner, if you know any business owner, somebody having a fight in your establishment, somebody slipping and falling in your establishment, or anything happen to somebody in your establishment, you will be held liable. You will be held liable, and they will make you pay out the wazoo. But somehow, some way, these establishments are always allowing these women to act the damn fool and have fights and all this foolishness in these establishments. How is that possible? How is it that y'all are allowing these women to come to y'all establishments and have fights on a regular basis? This lets you know that this isn't real. This should let you know that there's no way in the entire hell that this could be happening. But what they do is, it is a 60-minute, or if you're watching 3 or 4 episodes of this is a 2 or 3 hour infomercial on how to behave. Because let's be honest. I used to wear sweatpants because Run DMC wore sweatpants. I wear Adidas to this day because Run DMC wore Adidas. It's a lot of dudes out here that think they gangster because they listen to gangster rap. So it ain't just women. I'm talking about this is just the segment that I'm talking about women. But that's why they got dudes out here talking about, I'm killing, I'm stealing, I'm drug dealing. Do you people understand that the very rappers that y'all are emulating are telling those stories so they can get up out the hood? Understand that. These dudes that allegedly sold all this dope, allegedly seen all this crime, you did all this criminal activity, but they doing it so they can get out of it. This young dude, D1, he called out some of these rappers, and everybody talking about he clout chasing. No, he not. He is trying to enforce adult contemporary music. Look, when you're young, you think stupid thoughts. You don't know nobody. You think you know everything. You know everything and nothing simultaneously. You know everything you need to know and nothing that you need. And that's just the way the world works at this point. For you as a 19, 20, 21, 22, 25-year-old person. 14 to 25, you 30% out of your mind. I've been asked not to say that R word. But you are outside of your mind. So why is it that it is so easy to get these people on TV? Exactly. That is the 100% truth. The stuff that you see on the screen right now is 100% true. They don't like it when correction is in the building. Exactly. People get upset. Oh man, you trying to, I'm just trying to chase the bag. But those same people that don't correct them, those sisters on TV getting paid. Okay, cool. If we're gonna reduce it to capitalism, raw dog capitalism, right? Because everybody should be able to chase their dream and get as much money as they can. Because if you don't want to watch it, turn down the street. You need to protect your own kids, right? But guess what? I'm 53 years old. When I was a young person, everything was in your hand. VHS tapes, CDs, books, pornographic books and stuff like that. And guess what? My mother told me, leave that alone. You stay away from that. That was taboo to even be bothered with that, right? But guess what? Everybody got a homeboy. Every man who is of age, if you're 35 and older, every man who was ever gonna watch this, he had a homeboy with a brother, uncle, or cousin with some nasty, dirty books. And that's how we say, hey, man, check it out. I got this. Bam. And your homies went there and laughed and joked about it. And then that was it. Y'all talked about it. You looked at it while you was walking down the street, and it was the thing. And none of our parents okayed that. So don't act like if you tell your kids, don't do this, they're not gonna do it. Because guess what? They got this thing called a cell phone in their hand. It's a computer stronger than the computer that helped them, people getting out of space back in the 60s. So you can find what you want, but what you need to do is keep it off television. Keep it off their radar as much as you can, and you have conversations with your children. But if we keep letting this stuff be on TV, how are we gonna stop it from being on TV? It's easy. Just like you post, this dude getting on my nerves, this woman getting on my nerves, these people getting on my nerves on your social media pages. Just like you do that, you can do that and direct it to ABC, NBC, CBS, TNT, and all the other media outlets in the world as well. You can always do it. Here's something else you can do. And you'll probably get more traction if you do it that way. You can watch any reality show in the history of the world. And as soon as you see Coke, Pepsi, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Chevy, or whoever the commercials are on those channels, what you do is this. You send an email to them, or text to them, or email to them, a Facebook post to them, a Twitter post to them, and say, hey, I am the leader of the block club in this area, in this community, and we have collectively come together as 5,000 people and said we will never shop with you again if you continue to put your commercials on Love and Hip Hop. I guarantee you'll get a response. I know you'll get a response on Twitter. I had an incident with AT&T once. They made a mistake and terminated my cable for the weekend. I came home, turned on my TV, the cable's out. I don't know why I did it. I just went straight to Twitter. I was like, AT&T is some trash. I say, I'm going to get Comcast, and whenever they couldn't give it to me free. Those people got in the Twitter with me, asked me could they inbox me, and my cable was back on. It was a mistake. It was a clerical error, but it was back on in 30 minutes, and my bill was reduced by 45%. And if I could do that with just one tweet, just imagine if 1,000 of us did it, or 10,000 of us did it, or all of us participated in this anti-corrupted children in our community's mind campaign. We must get out of this. Look, it's these people supporting this stuff. It's called product placement. When you watch a movie and you see somebody pull out a Pepsi, that's not because they really like Pepsi, because Pepsi paid to get that movie made. If you see a computer and you always see the back of the computer, you see the little Apple or you see the Microsoft, that's because Apple and Microsoft put money in that. If they use an iPad or iPhone or Android phone or Galaxy, those companies put money behind that. So while everybody debating, is iPhone the best or is Android the best? Start sending out texts, tweets, Instagram posts, TikTok videos. They have people watching it, just how you see these young people going to jail for doing stupid stuff and posting it to the internet. The same thing happens if you post an anti-this product ad because y'all supporting this thing that's denigrating my people and destroying my community through the eyes of the youth. Yeah, if you 35, 40 years old, 99.9% of the time, you are not falling for the okie doke. But what about the people? Their target audience is 18 to 24, and then like 21 to 50. Now, at about 35, I would assume most of us are going, this is so stupid, but it's funny, it's entertaining. You like the story, like Country Wayne, the whole thing is comedy. We laughing at Country Wayne. Country Wayne presents it to you, and he makes it so insane that you have to laugh, and it's for entertainment purposes. But you got these women. Why you think, what's the term? Beat your face up. Why you think these young ladies out here trying to spend $500 to get their face done? Oh, these lashes. I got mink lashes. Your mother live in the projects. Why would you even buy that? That's insane. But we allowing these people to brainwash our children and trick them into. That's why you think we're more focused on the bag and foreigns and jewelry and nothing else. These people probably couldn't spell BMW. These probably can't. They don't even know what the P, the M, and the W stands for. They don't know that a lot of these products are funding the very governmental agencies that are attempting to strip you of all your rights. But I got a foreign, I'm traveling. You got a young lady out there who's a comedian that says she don't want to date a man who works every day. He can't support her lifestyle, and we're still paying attention to that young lady. I don't want the young lady to go broke. I don't want the lady to be working at McDonald's next week, but how is it that most of us get up and go to work and allow people to insult us about what we do? You got comedians like Earthquake that talking about he's supporting Donald Trump, and there was a couple other people, but he the first one pops in my mind. I'm supporting Waka Flocka, and I'm not gonna trip with the little 25-year-old girl. I'm talking about people 35 and older. Oh, I support Trump because he gave me tax breaks. Well, you know what? Those tax breaks are making it so my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews, and my cousins and my neighbors can't go to school. They're dealing with books from 19 anything. Because if your books are in 19 anything, they too old. My children don't have after school programs. New York City is about to cut $125 million out of their budget. Some of them gonna go to the police, some of them gonna go to the libraries, some of them gonna go to after school programs. But guess who's gonna get their money back first? The police. Because age-old adage, idle mind is the devil's workshop or the playground, whichever way you want to play it, word it. So if you don't give, it used to be from after school to 6 p.m. So if you let the children out at 4 p.m., what are they gonna do? They ain't got anything to do anymore. So they're gonna get to the worst things possible. All of them, no, but enough of them. And then it's gonna be acts of violence because guess what? I don't know about these young people now, but me and my buddies used to invent games to fight. Thing called body punching. So I'm gonna punch you on your chest and see if you can take it. You punch me in my chest. Sometimes, and guess what happened doing most of those little body punch sessions or slap box sessions? Somebody got mad and the fight started. Now, we fought it out and it was over, but we didn't have access to semi-automatic weapons either. See, these are the things, and then guess what happens? Somebody gets hurt, somebody pride gets bruised, and guess what? I'm gonna go enact some violence against this person. Now I'm in jail because I was emotionally unequipped to do this. When I could have just had money set to the side so we can go learn some science, we can learn some electronics, we can learn anything but another way to kill another young person. But this is not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on foolish rap music, telling tales. Yeah, Rick Ross and Drake and a lot of these dudes, they are in Dubai. They are rolling around in Bugattis, but we roll around in Chevys and Hyundais. That's what we rolling around in. And they making it, and even with basic television. No disrespect to anybody who makes television programs, but where is the person in the middle? They always do. Again, this is when I keep saying we keep complaining the man, but we need to start looking at each other. Look at the TV shows that we supported over the last 50 years, right? Over the last 50 years, either you dead broke or you insanely rich. Either you Fred Sanford and James Evans or you George Jefferson and Heathcliff Huxtable. Where is the black, what's the dude, King of Queens, the dude that work at UPS and his wife is a law secretary, work at a law office. Those are working class people. Those are people just like me and you. They get up and go to work every day. They living a solid life. They got cable, they got a decent car, and that's it. It's okay. Nobody wants to just be plain old, but it's okay to be plain old. It's okay to go on vacation once a year. It's okay to save up and go to a very nice restaurant. It's okay to do those things. But if the only thing you see in this world is I could be filthy rich or dead broke, who wants to be broke? Nobody. Nobody. But this is what this implicit bias, it programs us to believe there's something wrong with getting up, going to work every day. And at one point in this lifetime, it wasn't that bad. But if all you see is doctors and lawyers, look, everybody can't be a doctor. Everybody can't be a lawyer. It's okay to be a plumber. It's okay to be a UPS driver. It's okay to be a police officer, a mailman, and things of that nature. But the implicit bias tells us, I don't know, oh, you a mailman. It's something wrong with you. Really? Really? Ain't nothing wrong with that. But these things are planted in our head. Even the communities that we live in, they call them food deserts. They call them food deserts. What? That's like a desert. Listen to what they're calling this. Food deserts. We don't live in food deserts. We don't. We do not live in food deserts. The reason they tell us this is because that leads you to believe, then you are, again, following what you see on TV. This is the way to go. If you live in the hood or the ghetto or whatever you want to call it this week, whatever they call it, But if you were living in they call it underserved and impoverished communities now, what we are taught to do is we get a little piece of change. And when you get, everybody in the neighborhood making 50 cents out. And if you mess around and get $1.50, it's time for you to get away from these people. But what happens is when enough of us move away, enough people of affluence move in, and next thing you know, that very same school that was underserved in your community, they're getting served properly. And we continue to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. The best example in the history of the world is George Jefferson. George Jefferson started Jefferson Cleaners in Harlem, New York. That's the story. He started opening up more cleaners. He moved into Archie Bunker's neighborhood in Queens, a great integrated neighborhood, was integrating in that neighborhood. You even saw white people on their television show from All in the Family write up a petition to keep George and Weezy out. And guess what? When George got uber successful, he moved out of the community and moved into Manhattan because he didn't want to be around working class people. And that's what we were taught. When you get so much money, you move to the rich part of town. No, you don't. Again, I say this every time I bring up something of this nature. You don't want to put your children in danger. But guess what? If you know everybody on both sides of your street, why would you move? Because those are your friends. And when you didn't have anything, they were your friends. Some of them are your relatives. So why would you move away from them? Because you want better. But you can get better by stepping up, doing your civic duties, complaining, and galvanizing the community. Like you can do it, I can do it, and you can help, and so forth and so on. So we they always talk about the unemployment rate is low. All that means is people ain't getting unemployment checks. But if you are targeting my community and locking up my young ladies, now they locking up the young girls now. If you're locking up the young ladies and the young men, now you got a background. If you got a background, you can't work for the city and get that good government job. You can't work for the city. Some jobs won't hire you. And this is why you stay in your community, George Jefferson, because then you open up another dry cleaner, you hire some of the people who are not there. And if it's a food desert, imagine this. Just even imagine. Next time, if you've moved out of the hood or you moved away from the hood, God bless you. I don't want you to be in the midst of danger anyway. But I challenge anybody to do this. The next time you get a day off to yourself in the middle of the week, or you need to go to the doctor's appointment at 10 o'clock and you ain't go to work that day, drive through the hood and just get up at 7 and go to the hood. You're going to see a lot of people from the hood coming out of their homes, walking to the buses, walking to public transportation, getting in the Ubers, going to work, leaving their communities. You know what else you're going to see? You're going to see a lot of people from other countries come to the hood and open up stores. So those people got loans to open up the dry cleaners, to open up the grocery stores, to open up the chicken wing joints and the burger joints and all that stuff, the fast food joints, all that stuff, liquor stores, everything. They got loans to do that. Explain to me, how is it fiscally responsible for a bank to give a person from another country a loan to open up a store in a desert? Listen to that. Or an impoverished area. Those people don't have any money. That's a food desert. Why would you lend? Because if we actually lived in actual food deserts, it wouldn't be responsible for a bank to give them $75, $100, $200,000 to open up that. And yeah, they get those kinds of loans simply because they don't just need the money to open a store. They need the money to survive off of. If you're going to open a grocery store, it might cost you $75,000 to open a grocery store. But you need that other $150,000 so you can survive as the grocery store grows. So the grocery store grows. So why is it that we are foolish enough to believe it's time for us to leave the hood? But now that the Arab family, they open up a store, they open up a corner store. We go buy lottery tickets, cigarettes, potato chips, sodas, and things like that. In Chicago, you can buy a weed pipe, a T-shirt, ED pills, all that stuff in the corner store, right? Then you go to the liquor store, and it's in it, and it's an Asian family in there. And then you go down the street to the dry cleaners. It's a Eastern European family in there. How are these people? How they survive? And guess what? They don't live in our neighborhoods. They don't live in our neighborhoods. So they close up them stores at night after getting all your money. Look. You got potato chips that's $3 a bag now. $1.50, $2 a bag now. How many people bought potato chips today? How many people bought lottery today? How many people bought them old in Chicago, them old $15 a box cigarettes? $14.93. I saw it today. I was like, man, cigarettes cost less than crack. All this stuff. They spending the average corner store, I bet you they make it $3,500 a day. But we running to go get jobs, and we trying to live up to this standard because now I got to go to college, and I got to go to college, and I got to get a degree so I could not work in the field. Degree in criminal justice. I've been a criminal, but I ain't done no criminal justice. I don't know background, but it is what it is. I got a degree in criminal justice, never worked in criminal justice. As a matter of fact, I went in to the my minor is in juvenile justice. I've applied for the state of Illinois Juvenile Correction Center 7 times before 2010. Nobody ever called me back. A job that don't nobody want, they won't call me, but I want to work with the young people because I understand the temptation of doing something stupid, even when you're not in a bad situation. I get it. But we keep running away from, look, nothing wrong with wanting to get a job, but guess what? Do you understand that if I'm making $3,500 a day, or let's just say something simple. Let's just say something simple, $2,300 a day. Let's just use the weekdays at a 20-day clip. You're talking about $4,700. I mean, $47,000 a month. Let's just say if you spend half to restock your shelves and pay your people, that's $26,000 a month. I mean, year. $26,000 a month. I mean, year. I mean, a month. Damn, I'm tripping. So we talking about $250,000 cash in your pocket every year. How many of y'all are working for that? And these people working 9 to 5 just like you. And guess what? This is how you help your community. You can have the young man, your cousin, your neighbor, your friend, young nephew, niece, your nephew, niece, cousin, who just did something out of the way, got caught, served his time. You don't need no background check to be the manager of your store. Oh, man, who wants to do that? You can do that, or you can send him back to jail. He could work at the dry cleaners. He could work at the grocery store that's owned by us. See, we keep running to get jobs, and there's jobs that are created in our community that we can support. But we don't do that because we keep trying to live up to these fictitious standards that are unachievable. And then they got to have laws passed. And I'm going to talk about those things in a little while. We have laws passed, so we won't have those things. So we must stop investing in us and stop listening to people. We're not downtrodden. We don't live in food deserts. We're not underachievers. We're not slow. We're not uneducated. We are educated, but we've bought into a system that is not designed to benefit us. That system is not designed for me and you. It's not built for you or I to succeed. Because if it was, then it wouldn't have to be laws to have it that way. And it wouldn't be people fighting to get those laws eradicated. If I got this right, I'm going to pull up this video. I'm going to play this video. I think I lost it on my computer. I was going to play it. I'm not going to... I think this is the video. If it is, then I'll play it. If it's not, then
watermelon. Do white people like watermelon too? Well,
that's the video. And what I do is give you a preface on this video. We are in a situation to whereas we get duped into believing things that have been told to us instead of experiencing it. Black women are difficult. Black women don't know how to act. Look at them. They're a bunch of they're a bunch of that. Black men ain't no good. Ain't no good black men out here. Black men don't want to work. Black men don't want to do this. And then if you hear it enough, As soon as you see a black man doing something or a black woman doing something that you don't approve of, that does not make that person a bad person or somebody who even have to live up to your standards. I'm gonna give you this video is a perfect example of us attempting to live up to somebody else's standards and end up making fools of ourselves. I'll be back shortly.
Why people like watermelon too? Well, the stereotype of African Americans being excessively fond of watermelons came during a specific period in history and was used to fulfill a specific political purpose. After slaves won their emancipation, they made watermelon a symbol of their newfound freedom by growing, eating, and selling it. Southern whites responded by using the fruit to depict African Americans as unclean, lazy, and childishness. This trope was so widely accepted within popular culture that the origins of it are almost forgotten. The trope of the racist watermelon didn't emerge until after emancipation. In the early 1900s, the European imagination associated the typical watermelon eater with Italians or Arabs. A British officer stationed in Egypt in 1808 described the watermelon as a poor Arab feast, noting that the locals ate them ravenously as if the passersby was going to snatch them away. Watermelon rinds were apparently a common sight on the streets of the port city of Rosetta. In Egypt, watermelon was also associated with uncleanliness, laziness, and childishness. These associations eventually made their way to America, but watermelon hadn't yet been connected to African Americans. In fact, at that time, Americans were just as likely to associate watermelons with white Kentucky hillbillies or New Hampshire yokels as they would a black South Carolina enslaved person. During chattel slavery, some plantation owners would allow their slaves to cultivate and even sell their own watermelons. Sometimes they would even give them a day off during the summer to enjoy their first watermelon harvest. Southern plantation owners viewed this slave's delight in watermelon as an indication of their own supposed compassion. Slaves were also careful to relish watermelon in a manner that followed the code of conduct established by whites. As a result, whites could expect slaves to act in a manner of a caricature of a watermelon craving, juice dripping pickaninny. Refusing to comply with this stereotype could jeopardize the precarious relationship between master and enslaved. The abolishment of enslavement drastically altered the relationship between Black people and whites. Formerly enslaved individuals avoided sharecropping on white owned plantations by growing, consuming, and selling their own watermelons. This behavior of enjoying your freedom and cultivating your own land and selling watermelon in public markets provoked a major fear within the white community. Newspapers would then stoke this fear that whites have and strengthen the idea of African Americans having an affinity for watermelons. In 1869, Frank Leslie's illustrated paper published a cartoon of an African American eating a watermelon. The accompanying article stated that Southern African Americans have a strong liking for watermelon. They thoroughly enjoy eating it. 2 years later, a Georgia newspaper reported the arrest of a Black man for allegedly poisoning a watermelon with the intention of killing his neighbor. The article compared the man's actions to that of the Ku Klux Klan and asked if the Republican Congressional Subcommittee investigating the Klan should look into this incident in particular. The article also described the man as walking to the courthouse carrying an enormous watermelon. Medical journals also wrote with a scientific earnest about Black patients. They claimed that their intestines were clogged with watermelons. In an 1888 report by Dr. D.Z. Holliday of Harlem, Georgia, describing how he broke down a bowel instruction of an African American man. He claimed that the mass was filled with 820 seeds, all of which the man had ingested in one night. Also, during the 1880 election season, Democrats accused South Carolina state legislature, which was majority Black during Reconstruction, of having wasted the taxpayers' money on watermelons for their own enjoyment. In 1915, the white supremacist film D.W. Griffith, A Birth of a Nation, included a watermelon feast as a depiction of the emancipation, as corrupt Northern whites encouraged former enslaved people to stop working and enjoy watermelons instead. This idea of implicating Black appetites and Black character through the watermelon, with the primary message being that African Americans were not ready for their own freedom, and that stereotype of associating Blacks with watermelon remains a common occurrence in the United States even today. For example, in 1947, when Jackie Robinson broke Major League Baseball's color barrier, he was confronted by race-baiting taunts, including crowds throwing garbage, tomatoes, and watermelon rinds at him. Even in 1989, blacks protesting the killing of a black boy in Bensonhurst, New York, were taunted by whites, some of them holding watermelons over their heads and screaming at them to go home. There are literally hundreds of instances over the years with a watermelon in association with African Americans being used as a tool of insult. Even decades after the end of the Jim Crow era, this cultural symbol of blacks and watermelon continues. Thank you. I'm your host, Country Boy, and this has been One Mic History. I'm going to continue with this mini series. And if you have questions or you just want to leave your comments, like I said, you can do so at onemichistory.com in the contact page. Thank you for listening.
I'm back to Shaman H. Rap. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit that like button, share button, tell a friend. Tell a friend. It's important that you do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, what I want to do is continue to talk about that. That was another example of implicit bias. It was told to the world that we were the dominant culture eating the watermelon simply because they wanted to unemploy you. See, the greatest thing in the world, the greatest trick in the world is to, the greatest trick known to man is to make you to believe the devil don't exist. And what is the devil? And the devil in this instance is people who want to enslave people. The devil in this instance is people who want to enslave people. Why am I calling it the devil? Because if you don't want someone to have freedom, you are wicked and evil. If you want to control people, you're wicked and evil. That's the only reason. It's the only people in the world that want to control people. And if you want to control people, you want to dominate people, you don't want them to have their own personality, their own interest. They do things in their own best interest. What you do is put out implicit bias. So now you got black people scared to eat chicken and watermelon. The reason black people are eating chicken and watermelon, eating watermelon, I'm not gonna say chicken, but watermelon. Watermelon is one of the greatest fruit known to man. Guess what? One of the things that creates one of the reasons we suffer from high blood pressure, one of the reasons we suffer from diabetes and other things, fall victim to stroke, is because of lack of flow. Lack of flow. See, your body, think about your grandchild, niece, nephew, cousin, or even your child, depending on your situation. You feed the baby, put the breast or the bottom of the child's mouth. Bottle's finished at 6:45. Like right now, it's 10 minutes to 7. Here in Chicago, 13 minutes to 7. By 8 minutes to 7 or 3 minutes to 7 in 10 minutes, that baby, it's time to change that baby, because what the body is designed to do is take the minerals, vitamins, and nutrients, take it out of the food, put it in the digestive tract, urinate it out, defecate it out, and that's all you need of the food. That's the way your body is designed. But what we've been fooled enough to do is this. We've been tricked into eating 3 times a day. Everybody who will ever watch this, if you talk to your doctor, how long does it take to digest a meal? It takes about 8 hours to digest a meal. So if it's 24 hours in a day, and it takes 8 hours to digest the meal, why are you eating 3 times a day? Ask yourself that. This ain't HRF science. This is science that I've read. If it takes just common sense, you don't have to be the smartest person in the world. So you eat a meal, your body start taking the things out of the food, the nourishment from the food, so you can live, so you can have good skin, good hair, so stuff like this won't happen. Gray hair won't happen. All these things, so your muscles will grow strong. It flushes through his body, and it makes your blood flow, brings oxygen to your blood cells, pumps oxygen throughout your body, heals the body. And what happens if it takes 8 hours to do that, and it's only 24 hours a day, 16, 8 times 2 is 16. If you're allegedly supposed to be sleep 8 hours a day so your body can heal, because your body heals during sleep, and that means 16 hours a day, it is processing. When is it healing? And if you eat 3 times a day, that's even a greater problem. Now you got hypertension. Now you got diabetes. Now you're developing stroke symptoms. You got a headache, because guess what? Headache comes from pressure. Pressure comes from lack of flow. Lack of flow is also going to induce diabetes. Watermelon prevents all of that, because it comes in your body. It moisturizes your body. Hydrates your body. It makes your system run, and it runs through you and gets in and out of you. That's what fruit does. Fruit makes things flow. Vegetable is add nutrients. Fruit flow, meaning urination, defecation. Vegetables build up muscles and things of that nature. All you do is look this up. I'm not a genius. I'm not the smartest dude in the world. It's just basic facts. And they told you, your ancestors, they made it embarrassing for your people to not eat one of the most nourishing fruits in the world. Why is that? I don't know. You know, but I don't know. We're just gonna say, man, that's strange. It is strange that we're doing that. Thank you, Alfred. It's just strange. But they talked you out of it. Implicit bias. I don't want white people seeing me eat no watermelon. Man, I would eat a whole brick of watermelon. I would eat a whole truck. Because guess what? When you go to their communities, ain't nobody telling me, I ain't gonna eat, it's historically or a colloquialism for white people, a stereotype for white people is they like cottage cheese. You ain't gonna see them. No, I'm not gonna eat no cottage cheese. Nah, because they know it helps. So what we have to do is remove these implicit biases. We must remove all this brainwashing from our system so we can move forward and be important. Now, I'm talking about voter turnout. As I've mentioned on several occasions, people like Ice Cube, people like my brother Tariq Nasheed, people like Dr. Umar Johnson and others, they always talk about the Democratic Party ain't doing nothing for you. And the people, the sellouts like Candace Owens and Jason Fatlock and Jesse Lee Peterson and those other buffoons that be on the TV. What if the Democratic Party done for you? As I stated at the top of the show, the only thing you really can say back to them is this. What are they going to do for me? And see, don't let nobody tell you like Donald Trump did 4 years ago, 6 years ago. What do you have to lose? Your teeth. If they kick me in the butt, you going to punch me in the mouth. I got my teeth to lose. But the thing is, none of them care about us. That's what we need to really focus on. Neither party cares. Now, do you care? I hope so. Because if you care, then you talk to your friends and family. I'm going to talk to my friends and family, such and such talk to his friends and family, and we all come together and come up with a list of things that whatever party or whatever person we get behind, we're going to present it to them. See, they took civics out to school in the 70s. Took civics out to school in the 70s, so you don't know how civics work. See, because this generation, we're not very familiar with civics, but the generation before us, they were. That's why they vote more than us, because we don't know the importance of civics. Now, all that voting thing don't work. Well, in K.O. Parish, Louisiana, this dude who was going up against a white nationalist, he was a brother. He was going for sheriff. He won by 1 vote. If you're not familiar with this term that was created, it started in New York, but it was fashionable. It made fashionable in New York, but it goes throughout the cities, throughout the major cities in the United States of America, called stop and frisk. Basically, a police officer can look at you, say to himself, "You look suspicious," and then stop you, pat you down. Now, they did a little research. Over 900,000 people in the city of New York were stopped and frisked. 85% of those people were Black and Latino. How is it that in this town in which we don't make up 85% of the people, we make up about 14 to 21% of the people, how is it that we make up 85% of the people that were stopped and frisked? This dude was openly saying, we stopping and frisk, we gonna bring that down to Louisiana. And the brother was like, nah, we're gonna get into community policing, we're gonna police ourselves, and we're gonna make sure we getting this thing in order. He won by 1 vote. Of course, they're going to do a recount, but he won by 1 vote. So 1 vote is the difference in between stop and frisk, your civil rights and constitutional rights being violated, and just walking around freely. It's, oh man, but see, it's a lot of these young dudes out here doing crazy stuff. You see all the violence in Louisiana? Yep. But guess what? When you look at the numbers, that 900,000 people who stopped and frisked, 98% of them, 98% of them didn't even get a desk ticket, didn't get a summons, they had no violation. So 98% of the people that you stop were just going about their day, not breaking the law. They were just regular people. So wouldn't that tell you, if you only stopping black people and the black people you stop not doing anything, why would you spread that throughout the country? This is what I'm telling you. Well, but the voting don't count. The Democratic Party ain't no good. I don't think they're no good. Don't look, I ain't caping for none of these groups. But what we do need to do is make sure we're putting people in place and stop believing in the president like Cardi B. Again, this is another example of civics going wrong. When keeping it civic goes wrong, Cardi B, rightfully so, trying to galvanize her supporters. She got millions of people supporting her. Salute to the young lady. But she went on there and blamed $125 million budget cuts on Joe Biden. That's a mayoral, city council, and gubernatorial decision. That has nothing to do with the president. See, but we don't know that the president is equivalent to the CEO of a company. The CEO of a company, understand that. The CEO of a company is the head dog. He the dude who go around, shake hands. He opened new buildings throughout. He make the company look good. But the people who are in charge are your senators, your state, your House of Representatives people, and your city council. Those are the people in charge. So guess what? Even though they're scheduled to cut $125 million out the budget in New York, seeing how it's $500 million just on the police, maybe they need to just cut that out of the police budget. But I don't live in New York, so that ain't my business. But that's a suggestion. All you have to do is get on your phone, call your house, call your rep, the state rep, call your state senator, call your mayor, call your city council person. Hey, what's going on? We ain't for this. But we don't know that because we think the president is somebody. He is a figurehead. Look, he does sign the bills and things of that nature. So he does put things in play. He does put things in play. He does have to sign off on these things. But what I want you to understand is this. Exactly. CEOs and figureheads are not involved in day-to-day issues. Exactly. The POTUS, President of the United States, if y'all don't know what that means, that's the acronym for President of the United States. It's only 1/3 of power in democracy. Exactly. And we must know these things. We must educate ourselves. We must educate our friends and family members, and especially our children. That way we won't have another group of people that grew up like us think, oh, the president ain't nothing, they ain't doing nothing. They full of it. They ain't helping nobody. And that's why we are suffering, because we are not educating ourselves. We don't know that people like A. Philip Randolph, Thurgood Marshall, Bayman Rustic, Shirley Chisholm, Kathleen Cleaver, Eldridge Cleaver, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, all these people were fighting, and they were a political force. Political force. Look, man, you ain't gonna vote your way into Wakanda. You're not going to take over the United States. But all you need to do is be able to put up a wall. The brother by the name out of South Carolina, a couple hundred years, over 100 some odd years ago, named John Horse. He's from South Carolina. He was a free brother. Went down to Florida and taught the Seminoles how to fight and kept Andrew Jackson out of the Seminole Nation. They sold him out. That's why they got subject to the Trail of Tears. He went over to Texas, St. John Horse. He was teaching the Mexicans how to throw hands. And they snuck up on them and killed them, because you have to be a force. You have to understand the rules of engagement. When you understand the rules of engagement, you can live longer. When you don't, you suffer the consequences. And that's what we're doing. But what we still have an opportunity to do this, because what the people who are in charge have opened their mouths, they open their food mouths, and they've attacked the wrong issues at this point. But don't believe, see, we were foolish enough to believe that we won the fight. No, this is a never-ending war. This is a never-ending war on your civil rights, and that is the last thing I'm gonna talk about. Well, next to the last thing. That's the next thing I'm gonna talk about. Your civil rights. The Civil Rights Act of 1965 is under attack again. I told you people, the people who support me, I told you guys, the states and borders are bordered by military police. Illinois is bordered by Wisconsin, and Iowa, Indiana's bordered. Thank you, Philip. My bad. That's my man, Slick. Omar. I should say middle name. Then I know you. I still remember your middle name, Jack. But Kabugu. But on the serious side, these are the things that I told y'all 6 months ago when they started coming out the Roe versus Wade And then they came after affirmative action. I told y'all this I told y'all 6 months ago, Roe versus Wade. Then I told y'all affirmative action was next. And then I told y'all they was going to continue to tear down the next thing they was going to attack is the 1965 Civil Rights Act. They already got pre-clearance. They attacked pre-clearance and they knocked it out the box. What is pre-clearance? Pre-clearance. That is Section 5 of the Civil Rights Act. Pre-clearance is this: when you have a reputation as a county, city, or state for playing with the Civil Rights Act. Pretty much, it basically one of the key components of the Civil Rights Act of 1965. You cannot discriminate. You cannot create laws to discriminate against anybody. You cannot stop people from voting in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's one of the major components of it. Notice how they had to write a law. It's the Civil Rights Act. Something else that I'm going to talk about next week. We got to start put an end to these acts and bills and make them laws. So if you start making these things the Civil Rights law, then nobody can go in because it's a part of the Constitution, and then it's not going to happen. But if they let it be acts and bills, they have the opportunity to fix them, to change them. But they said, okay, racism is gone. We don't have to do that anymore, because what happened is this. This is what would happen. They would make, you have a county, Cook County. Just going to use my county, Cook County. Has a notorious reputation for discriminating against voters and making laws and changing, gerrymandering and things like that. Pre-clearance means you have to contact the United States Department of Justice and say, hey, we want to change this. And if they won't clear it, you can't change anything. So they did away with pre-clearance. That was a portion of it. The next portion of it is in Section 2. Section 2 is we gonna do away with anything that, and we gonna, now that we don't have to go through pre-clearance. What we gonna do is make it so the only people that can sue to get these districts fixed is the Department of Justice. Now, this is the same. Why do you think you need the legal defense, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the Asian Legal Defense Fund, and several other groups throughout the United States of America? We have created organizations as citizens to fight against these discriminatory practices. So they want to get rid of the ability for the NAACP to sue and say this is wrong. Now, this is already going to the Supreme Court, and you got coons like Clarence Thomas, and I usually wouldn't use that word, but he's a coon. I'm sorry. I ain't sorry. Nope, I ain't sorry. You got coons like Clarence Thomas, and sue me. I ain't got nothing, bro. You're a coon. This is what it is. You're a sucker, man. But and that's my opinion. Now, you can't sue me for expressing my opinion. You got suckers like him who fighting along with that. So the NAACP can't sue for discrimination against the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, can't fight for colored people. But the Department of Justice will, the same Department of Justice that hasn't fought for anything in the last 6 years. Over 182 cases has been presented before the Supreme Court. None of them were brought by the Department of Justice. They're understaffed, they're underfunded. So that means we're going to create discriminatory laws and we'll create discriminatory rules and cripple the black vote. So we can take over this country and have them, so we'll be living in white manlandia, and they can go back into power and they can control everything and they can kill you. They can stand the ground and kill you. They can stop you from going to hospitals. They can control what your children learn. They can control women's bodies. They can control men's body, and they can go back to being the wicked, evil people that they want to be. This is why we must be civically engaged. This is why we must be paying attention to the things that's going on. And this is why we must remove things like implicit bias so we can stop shaping our brothers and sisters in the side. And when you see a similarity, similar is not the same. I look similar to my sisters, but we're not the same people. I look like my brothers, but we're not the same people. I'm me. So just because things are familiar don't mean they're the same. And just because you want control of something don't mean you're going to get it. We have the opportunity over the next 6 years. It's 6 years. At the beginning of this year, 10 months ago, 11 months ago, I told y'all we got 7 years. It's 6 years now. 6 years, 1 month now. if we don't get our act together, it's going to be hell to pay the captain. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's your man H-Rap. I'm just here because I care. I will see y'all in 167 hours, because it's 168 hours in a week. See y'all in 168 hours. So hit that like button, hit that share button, tell a friend to tune in. I'll see y'all soon. 2 fingers, 1 word. It's your man H-Rap. Big Mo, take us out of here.
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now his people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brain. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him 2 to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans thinking they claim, and you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders are slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth in the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim, and you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game. We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them